I have chosen from page 77. So I will read now. Our real purpose is to fit ourselves to be of maximum service to God and the people about us. It is seldom wise to approach an individual who still smarts from our injustice to him and announce that we have gone religious. In the prize ring, this would be called leading with the chin. Why lay ourselves open to being branded fanatics or religious bores? We may kill a future opportunity to carry a beneficial message, but our man is sure to be impressed with a sincere desire to set right the wrong. He's going to be more interested in a demonstration of goodwill than in our talk of spiritual discoveries. We don't use this as an excuse for shying away from the subject of God. When it will serve any good purpose, we are willing to announce our convictions with tact and common sense. The question of how to approach the man we hated will arise. It may be he has done us more harm than we have done him, and though we may have acquired a better attitude toward him, we are still not too keen about admitting our faults. Nevertheless, with a person we dislike, we take the bit in our teeth. It is harder to go to an enemy than to a friend, but we find it much more beneficial to us. We go to him in a helpful and forgiving spirit, confessing our former ill feeling and expressing our regret.
Great.
That was it.
Thank you. I didn't know where it was. I caught it now. Yeah. So
Yeah.
we started at, we don't use this as an excuse. Whatever. It's on page 77. Yeah, they're giving us suggestions, I think, of how to approach people in the situation that we find ourselves, because over time you can see that it's a very symbiotic thing. First of all, welcome everyone. Nice to see you here. This is not an AA meeting. This is just reflecting on the 12 steps from the point of view of the exact nature of the wrong, that the exact nature of the wrong is foreign to us. I am not that which hates me and stuff like that. So I found over time that I need to carry the message and you need to hear the message, and then you need to carry the message and I need to hear the message. So it's a very symbiotic give and take, yeah? So there's a huge give and take, and then there's the playing out of the give and take. So sometimes I'm hearing the message, sometimes I'm carrying the message, vice versa. And this is what keeps our program and our community alive, because the basic, what he's saying here is to become of maximum use to yourself and others. Yeah. And obviously, in the old employer's hands, we were made to be of maximum use to the employer. And to the new employer's hand, we can find a new agenda or a new purpose, which is to be of maximum use to ourselves and others. And the same thing about you will learn, you start looking at life at what you can contribute to life instead of what you can get out of it. These are just fundamental changes in attitude and outlook, because we are going to be on a new basis. So if there was something that was being built, the basis would be the foundation, then attitudes and outlook, and so on and so forth. Yes? So the basis has changed, and that basis is relying on a higher power instead of relying on ourselves or really relying on self. Yes? So that's the basis. And then what happens is your attitude and outlook changes. And therefore, your outlook on life isn't so much of what you can get out of it, or is what you can put into it. So there can be an incredible change, yeah, that is initiated by the change of the basis. Yeah. If you don't change the basis, trying to change the attitude and outlook is going to be a lot of work. Yeah. But when the basis of your life is changed, which this is what the program does, really, it solidifies it. It brings up the possibility, and then if you follow these suggestions and do what we do, it solidifies the new basis, which brings about a new attitude and a new outlook. Yeah. And that also brings about a new happiness and a new freedom. Yeah. So the first things first, though, and that first things first is perhaps there's the better way. And the better way to get to a new attitude and a new outlook is trusting the infinite instead of the finite. Because what you're going to get trusting the finite is the same old attitude and outlook clothed in a new suit, so to speak. Yes? So, like it says there about when they're describing the us, it says us being driven by self can look like we're very virtuous and kind, but isn't that self-seeking? Yes. So basically, uh, a lot of behaviors can change, but the transactional aspect of it is the same. You're trying to get something out of it instead of contributing into it. And you hear it a lot in people going to meetings. They feel like they're not getting anything out of the meeting, but they're not looking at what can they put into the meeting. Yeah. So they go, I'm not getting anything out of it anymore, so I'm going to stop going. But maybe someone's getting a lot out of you being there. So why not? Yeah. So these are all shifts in perspective, but they're rooted in the change of the basis. Yeah. And it's the primary point is to see that that which is playing God doesn't work. Yeah. And then to open up to being directed by something different than it. Yeah. And they use the term new employer based on the old employer. Yes. And so this they're talking about when you're talking to others and they're giving you suggestions, but you're really going to learn by talking to others. Yeah. Yeah. You're going to learn by failing, trying to, get someone else sober. You're going to learn a lot just by being willing to do, to play the role that the program has in store for you. Yeah. So I found that a lot of times you're doing someone a disservice by trying to keep them from their bottom. Yeah. I didn't have that from the beginning, but I learned it. I learned some people are hell bent on getting fucked over. You might as well let it happen. Yeah. Because they're just, and also you can't, you can lead a horse to water. You can't make them drink it. Yeah. And I saw it as a lot of aspects of the disease, which is the person who most needs it is the person who has the least amount of interest in it. I don't see that as a weird phenomena. I see that as manufactured, as the parasite protecting its life at the expense of our life. I do, yeah. So when we're reflecting on AA, to me, all the reflections I'm sharing is coming from the clarity of the exact nature of the wrong. Yeah. So when I hear the word self, I do not imply, it doesn't trigger it's me. It does not trigger it's me. It triggers a foreign sort of invasion almost. Yeah. So a self-imposed calamity is not a calamity I have manufactured. And then it brought me to, and this is, this isn't like a Bible to some people. You can argue and take what they say to be not right. I do not believe that we manufacture our own misery. I do not believe that at all. Yeah. I do not believe you are the problem. I can believe you can live as if you're the problem. I do not believe you are the problem. Because if you were, there would be no solution. But there is a solution because you're not the problem. That's the solution. Yeah, that's how I see it. So when it says we manufacture our own misery, I believe we manufacture an experience called life. It happens through us, yeah? But what's going to be the product that's manufactured is based on who's running the factory. And in our case, the old employer manufactured misery. It manufactured chaos. It manufactured you know, out oversized drama. It manufactured incomprehensible, pitiful demoralization. Yeah. Under under the banner of spiritless servility. Yeah. Now I feel this factory is being used to manufacture other products. Yeah, I do. And it has. So the factory and the machinery is the same. The product line is completely different because I am on what? A new basis. What is that basis? Trusting the infinite rather than finite self. What can happen with that new basis? You will find that you have a new attitude and outlook to yourself and to others in life. And you'll find a new freedom and a new happiness. And you will understand the word peace and comprehend serenity, or however they say it. All these things are awaiting us. Yeah. And I'm telling you, most of us in these squares have gone through it already. Yeah. We're not, we're looking from a new basis and we have a new attitude and an outlook. Yeah. And I understand stuff that I didn't, and I'm resting in peace where I didn't understand it at all. Yeah. So this is, I mean, everything it described about the problem, I have an intimacy with, and now everything they describe about the effects of the solution, I have an intimacy with. Yeah, it's an incredible book to me, in a sense. Yeah, but the whole thing that we share here is pivoted on page 64 because I humbly believe there is another possibility of direction when it comes to the fourth step. I do not believe there's only one direction, and that is to looking at your resentments, your fears, your harms done to others. I believe there's a direction right there to look at fears and resentments and harms to others as manifestations of self in one's life, and self is foreign to you. I believe that is just as more valid, in my sense, instruction than the other prior instruction that I had followed and the community I lived in was the basic structure, was looking at your resentments, your fears, your harms to others. I do not believe that's what the book says. It says, look at the manifestations of self, which are resentment, fears, and harm done to others in the pursuit of what you want. That's quite different than that stuff being my stuff. Yeah. And it fit better than the first way I was instructed. It did. And it worked better. I see, I have a different relationship with resentment when it's not mine. I do. I have different resentment. I have a different relationship, fear, when it's not called my fear. Yeah. And I find more forgiveness and more willingness to make amends when what happened through me wasn't me doing it. Yeah. And here I am sharing it. That's all. Basis, just sharing the whole effect, because when that leaf moves in the tree, it's rooted in the root, and the root is the basis. And the new basis is trusting the infinite rather than finite self. So learn what trusting finite self looks like. Why not? It's being in spiritless servility to the reason, to the thoughts in one's head. That is the bondage of self. Now, there's tons of ways the bondage of self can express, but the bondage of self is we're taking alcoholic thoughts as our thoughts. We're taking addictive thoughts as our thoughts. Yeah. Therefore, we don't have the wisdom that would be available if you saw addictive thoughts as addictive thoughts. It's much different when you see addictive thoughts as your thoughts. You're probably going to follow them. It's just that simple. So I found a great relief when I saw the exact nature of the wrong. It was foreign to me, like a possession. They talk about it, demonic possession, whatever you want to say, but they're just trying to trigger an imagery of it not being us. Yeah, because that's what opens up a huge amount of possibilities. You can actually be free from it instead of trying to be free as it. Yeah. Why do you wait for your freedom to be based on it getting something. Why? The snake is not going to become a fucking service animal. Look, see the nature of what has defeated you. And I'm telling you, you're not going to send it to boarding school. It's not going to dramatically change. As long as it has access to your life, it's going to take advantage of it. Yeah. That's how I've seen it. And I've seen it in myself, and I've seen it represented in thousands of people. I have talked to thousands of people, and most of the conversations was with alcoholism. I did not meet the person. I did not, especially when they were in calamity. I always the first when the phone was when they grabbed the phone, the first thing I heard was alcoholism. That's what it was insane. It really has been. And then alcoholism would go on its own whole rant, what they did, what da ba 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 ba. Yes. And after a while, I realized I don't want to listen to that anymore. Yeah. It's like, and it's amazing, not knowing the person, I can actually forecast the future of their life. You're fucked, bro. Really. You're fucked. If this isn't seen and you keep looking from it, you're fucked. I don't care. I don't need to know anymore. Literally. And it's been correct most of the time. So I don't know what we were reading. We were reading about being of help to others. Just be willing to be of help. Make the mistakes, make this. You're going to learn. Yeah. And you're going to learn. And I don't have any rote thing to read when I meet someone. I rely on the moment, that which I rely on all moments. Yeah. And something gives the right thing for me to say usually. And there you go. Yeah. These were suggestions. Yeah. I do not definitely, whatever. Yeah. So there is a solution because the problem is in us. If you believe it is, then God bless you and work as hard as you can to rehab it. Yeah, really. Just, man, train it like you do a dog. Just try to train it every day and uh, and get some relief. But if I feel the real relief is based on seeing it's not you. Yeah, so there you go. Thanks. I could go on, but yeah. Did you hear this as a fourth step instruction? Or did you hear you're going to look at your role in things? Yes, which is true. Your role in things is in the robbery of the bank, you were the car they used. Your role in the robbing of the bank was you were not the robber. You were the car that drove the robber to the bank. Yes? The car was essential because the robber couldn't get to the bank unless it had a car. You played the role of the thing that was driven, which was the car, yet you're in the prison of being the driver. It's like your roommate is a Toyota because the bank robbers used the Toyota. The bank robbers are running around free, but the Toyota's in jail. Were you seen at the bank? Yes. Therefore, you drove there? No. But you were at the bank? Yes. Oh, therefore you're the robber? No. Didn't you feel like you were used for transportation? Don't you feel like when you go to AA meetings after a while, you realize all these unique cars ended up in the same three parking spaces, institution, jails, and death. They're not self-driving cars, yet they were driven by self. That's our little assumption. If it seems to help you, fantastic. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I had someone argue with me here. They haven't come back since then. That was cool. About the sentence, being convinced self manifested in various ways is what has defeated us. They saw no difference between the word us and self. And I was unbelievable. I grew up in America. I was introduced to English since I was a kid. In one sentence, self and us are not the same thing. Yeah. In that sentence, self is what has defeated. Yeah. And then the defeated was us. Yeah. They're different. And it went on and on. No, self is a collective us. No. When I was defeated, I didn't think it was Jimmy and Madeline and it seemed to be Paul. So simple. I feel seeing the difference of it made a huge difference in the recovery. It just did. It opened up so many doors that I was walking by as if they were walls. Yeah. I had no idea that that which had defeated me was foreign to me. None. And therefore I kept trying to get out of that which had defeated me as which that has defeated me. I got caught in the net of self can't get out of self. But did I stop trying or did it stop trying? No. And I finally realized self does not get self can't get out of self. It does not get it. It will keep on trying no matter what. Yeah. It's unbelievable. It never fucking learns. I remember I used one vehicle, drugs, then that failed. Then I used spirituality. That seemed to fail. Then I went back to drugs. That failed again. Then back to spirituality. Yes. It just doesn't get it. So a lot will be revealed. Okay. All right, Miss Folkman.
Okay, anyone with questions? Yes, we have True here.
Shoot both of them.
You need to unmute yourself, True.
Who?
I don't know, True H.
Oh, hey, I'm here now.
All right, great.
Just kind of on the idea of you give meaning to, you give all the meaning to something that it has.
Yes.
When I interact, I have a 15-year-old daughter, and a lot of times, I get strong emotion, often over real trivial stuff. And I was just I'm sure you kind of get the point where I'm going with this. Is I don't feel like I'm giving that situation like all that importance, but like the situation will really cause like kind of like I don't want to use upheaval, but I'll have often briefly, but like a strong emotional response to it, where
Yeah.
and I don't think she can just say something like kind of truthful and I don't, a lot of times it's like that feeling of I'm not good enough. And I really struggle with that. So you can just take it from there, Paul. Thanks for posting everything on YouTube. I get, it just puts my mind at ease a lot of the times and helps me with the thoughts. Have a good day.
Oh, great. Well, thank you. And I think you answered it yourself that there's a underlying vague sense of not being good enough, and these uh, events of relationship are used to prove that. Yeah. And of course, the dynamics of a family have a lot of deep waters running. Yeah. Just like I was amazed how affected I was in holidays when I got sober. Yeah. I used to take I didn't understand. I had a feeling of some weird shit on holidays, and I usually would act out and make an ass of myself. And it would be around a holiday. And I remember, like, we call it the trifecta of alcoholism, which is Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's. And there was like a lot of stuff running while it looked like a basic day, a surface day, just a little thing, but there was a lot more going on. And I was unaware of it, and I was outmatched actually. And so I had to, that's why we have so many meetings on holidays and everything, because of these things that are triggered. And I don't have a biological kid, so I can't actually share from that experience because I don't have it. But I can see what I would look at are relationships and the difference if there's a biological connection. Yeah. They trigger a lot of deeper underlying stuff comes up. So it looks like just a nice little nonchalant conversation, but then there's a weird overreaction, so to speak. Yeah. So this stuff, I just admit I'm outmatched by, and I ask for guidance like I do mostly every day. I don't ask for it anymore. I feel I have the guidance. But yes, so I'm outmatched quite a lot. But I don't, it sometimes it's not wise to dive into those deeper waters by yourself. Yeah. Yeah. It's good to have a sponsor and stuff like that, and take the sanctuary, the refuge of a meeting where you can share it without much of a reaction. Yes? Yeah. A lot of times the person I think I need most to talk to is the last person I should be talking to about it. Seriously. I tend to look at my role in things and take care of that, and then I see their role in things differently. Yeah, instead of amplifying their role in things. Yeah. So it becomes a habit. I've been with a lot of people who've had kids in this life, um, girlfriends. So I've learned that way, but I can't give it a justice because I don't have that biological connection. So I could see that, somebody's fucking uh, older brother can just trigger them by the easiest, a look. Yeah. So, yeah. Again, we're just learning how to face life successfully. And a lot of times that has a lot of failure, or what it would look like as failure. That's part of the learning how to face life successfully, that failing life's tests doesn't mean that you're no good or anything like that. Yeah, yeah. What was my answer being afraid of all that rejection? I didn't do anything. I fucking didn't ask for anything. I remember I dove off a pool once and I tried to do a spinning thing and it didn't work. And I was so embarrassed. I didn't dive for like 8 years. That's fucking insane. So, yeah, but thank you for that. Yes. A lot of things in families obviously topics get blown up. Yeah, they're bigger than life, so to speak, and they can trigger a lot of like old ideas, old reactions. So yeah, I bring that to step 6 and 7, obviously, especially if it's a pattern, which usually everything is based on a pattern. I bring that pattern, not the singular event, but the pattern to 6 and 7, and I ask that power to reconfigure it. Yeah. And I have faith in it because that power that I'm asking to reconfigure it seemed to have struck me sober. So I'm totally, which no human power could do. So I think it's a pretty good place to bring it when I feel outmatched. I bring it to step 6 and 7. That's all. And good luck. And then, of course, when it seems to fail, you have the amends mechanism. You can make an amend. Yeah. And voice your willingness to do better the next time. Yeah. All right. But thank you, Drew. Yes.
Thanks, Paul. Have a great day.
You're welcome. Yeah.
Okay, we also have Sean here.
Sean.
Hey, Paul. My name's Sean. I've been listening to the podcast version of these talks you've been hosting, and I've been getting a lot out of it. I'm currently, so I relapsed about a year ago on December 3rd, and I'm in inventory right now. I'm writing my fourth column. And it's been great. I'm grateful for the relapse because it's led to this like deeper understanding of like what the problem is and what self's role is in that. I guess I'm wondering like why do you keep showing up?
Oh, me?
Yeah, like if like I get like being of service and like carrying this message of like self is not us and that self is the problem, self is the parasite. I'm just wondering like what your journey. I think you said you've been doing this for 30 years and the message hasn't changed much. I'm just curious, like if you've recognized self as the issue, does that require maintenance? Does like self keep popping up for you? And that's why you keep hosting these talks or being of service?
No, self is always going to pop up because it's mechanical, first of all. Yeah. It's just, its influence is based on your interest in it. And I haven't met enough selfless people to stop giving the talks. I haven't hit my what would you call it? I have to reach a certain amount of success. I don't think I haven't reached that yet. But it's really out of the spirit of service. I didn't know I'd be doing it anyway either. You would think I would have moved on to something, but uh, again, what I thought my use was going to be is different than how I've been used. It's just that simple. And I gotten used to that. So if I see enough healthy use, I'll probably stop, but I don't know. Yeah, so I think that's what moves me. Who knows, man? Yeah. Something, I feel a communication. It's not usually put into words. And when this happened with me, it was revelatory. I have to admit, I was given the sight that that which had defeated me was foreign, and that it was shared also, that we share the foreign nature, and the activity of our relationship with it is we're identified as it. Yeah. So these fundamental ideas became obvious, and they haven't changed over the years. And so, again, I don't look at these things of getting anything. Yeah. I'm just looking at what I can contribute. Yeah. And so this is what I can contribute. So that's why we do it. I wouldn't be doing it if I saw other people contributing it, but I didn't see it. Yeah. And I was in a pretty healthy community in San Francisco, and I didn't hear this. I did not hear this. And so that's what's really moved me, was to put it out there. It's not about, quotas or anything like that. It's just basically an urge that keeps on replenishing itself. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, I'd say it's that. I would have loved to gone to the 11th dimension, and go into, you know, my head loves going there. But first things first, let's get clear about what has defeated us. And I didn't feel I didn't feel that was presented very clearly. There's nothing right or wrong in it. I just didn't hear it. And yeah. So, yep. I think that's it. And I
I,
found also, obviously, if you've lived or been driven by selfishness, self-centeredness, I go to thrift stores a lot, and most of those thrift stores are volunteer. Yeah. And there's a lot of wise people. Yeah. They're volunteering their time to promote, let's say, suicide prevention. A lot of thrift stores have a purpose. Yeah. And there's all these people who volunteer there. And those people are wise people because they know the essential quality of a life well lived is service. It just is. If the purpose is always about you, it just goes weird, man. It just goes weird. And a lot of people have learned that after they've lived a life all about them. They now know the joy of service. We've been introduced to that joy uh, through this program. AA is rooted in service. It's one of the three things, yeah? Unity, whatever, and then service. It's essential because of the dilemma of the obsession with self and the habit of getting contracted into it, and then obviously wanting a desire to expand. Yeah. And so, like my girlfriend has lovely kids and stuff, and really the purpose that signifies this action figure is service. Yeah, here, coming here and sharing. So yeah.
I guess I had a follow-up question on that. So this idea of like we are not self and that self can't get out of self. It's
Yes.
it's really, I mean, it's probably because I'm so identified with self is like it's really difficult for me to like, well, what do you mean? I'm like, if these aren't my thoughts, whose are they? They're a parasite. It's this really trippy idea to get my head around. And I
Yeah.
how is the course to just keep doing the steps and see what happens, and that it's an experience, not a mental activity.
Yes, dude, you don't keep doing the steps. You seem to do the steps and then they start doing you. Yeah. And so we're right now, the only way we can see a solution is from the problem. You're going to see the solution from the solution if you stay under its influence. So the influence we're talking about is a higher power's influence. Yeah. So you're going to start understanding the problem from the solution, not from the problem. This is what happens over time. Yes? Just read the effects of the big in the beginning of the book and then at page 84 and stuff. The problem will not exist for you anymore. It will happen with no effort or thought on your part. That's a solution from a different place than the problem. Yes? A solution in the problem is you do stuff and you change what you're doing and you do something different. Yeah? This solution is a solution. It's after a while you do very little. Yeah. Because you're in the habit of being sober. Yeah. Yeah. So now you're at the point the steps have done you, and now you're the living of the steps and so forth. So we have a mix of solution, the primary and dominantly problem. And that mix changes to where it becomes all solution after a while. Yeah, it's pretty good. So when it's all solution, the problem does not exist for you anymore. That's a solution from the solution. Yes? Yeah. So you don't keep doing the steps. Some people do one inventory and they see the pattern of what has defeated them. And then they now have the ability to recognize that pattern before a defeat. And the most used steps at that point are 6 and 7. So you're just recognizing that which has defeated you and bringing it to that which has saved you. And you give it to that which has saved you to change the defeat. And so it is. Yeah. So this is a living event. It seems like it's a doing event, but it's not always a doing event. Yes? Yeah, it's actually
Looks like Paul froze.
Yes, I just thought it's on my side again that my internet connection stopped again.
It must be cold in Nevada.
Where is he now? I can't see him.
Michael, Stacy, can you call him or text him? Tell him he's frozen?
I think Michael isn't here anymore.
I think he will come back in. I think
Yes.
Paul has checked out and then he'll come back in.
Thank you, Miss Mickey. There's a reason I love you.
You bet.
Hey, Rick, I got to call you right after the meeting.
Okay, do. I'll text Paul now.
Anyone have a joke?
Mickey, I was going to be ridiculous and say the joke is I love you, but that's not a joke.
It's never a joke. Love just is.
You must have one, Mickey. Come on.
Okay. There were several alcoholics in a regular meeting, and a new fella came in and said, you know, I noticed why you always drink coffee in here, but I seldom see tea. And one of the old timers said, well, you know, alcoholics have a difficult time with tea. And the new fella said, well, I don't get it. What's the problem with tea? Well, alcoholics have problems with humility, with serenity, with honesty. I thought it was funny.
That's hilarious. That's a good
Excellent. Excellent, Mickey.
Nikki, you could really add to that list. Prosperity,
You bet.
intimacy.
Mike, it goes on and on and on, doesn't it?
Self-reliance is a real MF in every one of those situations.
Paul's back. He's on iPhone 4.
There was a guy who went to the department store to get his wife something for Christmas. And he said,
You're muted, Paul.
oh, is Paul back? Is Paul back? I had a joke, but.
Okay, I'm here. Go ahead with the joke. Yeah.
Not that good. Anyway, he went to the department store to get something, and he brought out the gal brought out a necklace, and he said, how much is that? $84. That's too much. Everything cheaper. He came back, he brought a bracelet, and the bracelet was $20. He said, it's too much. Can you get anything cheaper? He said, just show me something that's cheaper. And then she went out and she got a mirror and she showed him the mirror in his face. That's it. Just silly. I did have my hand raised. Paul, I was going to ask you, how sometimes it's hard to know that you talked about that we're either driven by the addiction or driven by higher power, but we're going to be driven. And sometimes it's hard for me to know which one's driving me at a moment. Is there a way to kind of know which one's driving you?
I think you're muted, Paul.
Maybe whoever's host.
Leon,
Why?
ask Paul to unmute.
He's
Give him.
Yeah. I
He
think it's not the issue. I think he hears us. No?
he can't
Yes.
unmute.
Looks like he's trying.
It's hard on the phone.
So what do I do here?
Ask him, pull up his
Mickey.
name and ask him to unmute.
Mickey, if Leanna's the host, she should be able to unmute him.
And how do I do this?
Tap
Oh,
on name.
ask to unmute. I see it now. I have never seen this before. Ask to
Yes,
unmute.
Rick, tell her how to unmute, please.
She's got it. There you go.
Well, I'm pressing ask to unmute, but it doesn't do anything here.
No. He'll see the message.
Jules asked to make him a co-host so he can help you.
Thank you. Let me just go just 1 sec.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
All right. Yeah, we got it. The Wi-Fi went down. I'm on the phone now. That's all. I couldn't unmute. It wouldn't let me. Now I'm here. But go ahead. Whatever you were sharing. Yeah.
Well, I was just asking how to know the difference. Sometimes it's hard to know the difference between if I'm being driven by higher power or being driven by self.
Well, you'll know that over time, and ask who is it that wants to know that anyway.
Yeah.
Who is it that wants to know that is self usually. So you'll lose interest in that, and you'll know the tree by its fruit, and you'll know the driver by how the car is. Yes.
The conditioning of the condition.
Let's say you have a bit of sentience. Yeah, you can become aware of it. You'll obviously know you'll have a traumatic feeling in your body if self takes over after what you've been through. And after a while, you can recognize you're like a dog that was beaten and now you have a new owner. You still have those flashes, you're going to be beaten, but the proof is in the pudding. You're not anymore. And you usually can come out of the trauma. So, but that which wants to know isn't you. Yes.
I appreciate that. I got a really bad concussion 2 weeks ago and I'm still really out of it and I have new pains. And I just know what you mean by being a beaten dog. So to be coming from higher power in this context is just to do my seat assignment and my curriculum. Yeah, is that right?
Yes, and usually that it comes along with an atmosphere of acceptance instead of wanting to manage and control. You can fit yourself around a concussion better being driven by the higher power than the head. Yes. Yes, it's just obvious after a while, and you get used to it. And then the recognition isn't an effort. You just see it. And then if you get lax, you'll act on self, and there'll be a result that will convince you. Oh, it's all right to just get pissed off on the road today. And then you do, and you end up in an accident and you're fucking going to jail. You're going to learn the hard way. But yeah, you learn. Yes? And then you get in a habit. Habits are really the thing here, I feel. because a habit is an action without thought. So you're not bringing in the head where the problem resides into the solution, which is great. So you're just in the habit of being sober. So I am not in the habit of looking at what I can get from everything all the time anymore. Just not in, just the habit's been broken. I'm in another habit. Yeah. Yeah. And I also learned a lot. I learned a lot. Having more doesn't mean I'm more full. Sometimes I feel much more empty by all this desire to have more. So you learn a lot. Yeah. And the head would like to say you already know. It doesn't allow you to learn much. It tells you what you know already. Yeah. And it's always going to be this fucking way and all this shit. So no, you learn, I feel, by not knowing. Yeah, that's how you learn about something. Yeah. You learn about it by not knowing. That's the best approach. So here, yeah. So you'll be able to tell when your car is being driven by self or the higher power. The car has a level of sentience it can pick up. Just like the horse knows a certain jockey doesn't treat it well and another jockey does, and probably responds differently when it feels the one jockey getting on and the other jockey getting on. Same with us, literally. Yeah. Yeah.
Travis, I was talking about a SEAT assignment. He just in the
Seat assignment is just in the action figure world where, usually on the plane, I'm in the back, basic economy. So this seat assignment is, I'm living out the seat assignment right now by sharing at this Zoom. So yeah, there are certain things that you find yourself in a position of having or needing to do and stuff like that. And that's the seat assignment. Yeah. Yep. Now you can live life trying to get the seat you want, or you can have faith in that which is giving you the seat. Yeah. And then respond to that, knowing you may not know how important that seat assignment is. You're gonna have to find out. Yeah. You may think it sucks, but then you'll realize, man, I have the window seat. I see the whole thing. It's pretty cool. Yeah. So our seat assignment is just a little joke concerning the action figure. So the action figure in most cases needs a purpose. It does better with a purpose than not. Yeah. So your seat assignment can be the purpose for you that day. Maybe it's to deliver something to a person who can't get out of the house or whatever. Yes. So you have a seat assignment. Yeah. Yeah. That's that. It's just the way we use the term action figure, seat assignments to give you a different spin on how important, like in AA, when it says you lose interest in self and your little plans and designs. When were your plans and designs little? When they were yours. They all seem to be big, yes? It's a beautiful statement that your big plans and designs are actually little plans and designs. So, yeah. Is anyone there?
We hear you.
Oh, good. Oh, there's Mike appearing, and I didn't think I'd see Mike in space. I thought I would get away from the mics, but there he is. I ran into the orbit of Mike. Hey, Mike, how are you, bro?
Real good.
Yeah, the Wi-Fi died at the house, so I had to go to the phone, and everyone was saying he's muted. I knew I was muted. I couldn't say anything. Yeah, but so here we are. So what's going on? Anyone else? All I see is Mike right now. So
Yes, I have my hand up. Maybe that's why.
all right, good. What's going on, man?
I'm just happy to be here and to
great.
get to, we used to do all these affirmations and all these rehabs I was in. And I was wondering, like, I was not asking you, but I was wondering why none of those things worked. And it became very obvious that the same mechanism that got me loaded was the same mechanism that was reaffirming getting loaded, no matter what spiritual or therapeutic, thing that I tried. And I do agree about the holidays. When I didn't do this work at a deep level, there was always like, you know what it is, Paul? I felt like I was getting Scrooged. Like I was living in the ghost of Christmas past or Christmas future. What's going to happen this Christmas? A total inability to chill because I had never made the amends. I had all this guilt and shame for what I thought I did. And
Yes.
in coming here, it's like, wow, I did not do that shit. I was so driven. And we've always said this because, you know, you bring this up in a meeting, you're like, what do you mean you didn't do it? You got to make amends for it, and this and that. It's like, I just kind of go with, like you said, when in Rome, you just talk in knowing that I'm accountable for making the amends for the dog shitting on everybody's lawn over and over again. But what a freedom to know that I'm not that thing. And that has happened. It took a long time of sitting around here. And I'm not saying it's 100% all the time, but there's definitely a knowing that I'm not that I never experienced in the 30 years of coming in and out of AA before. And does it just trickle in? Do I learn without even knowing I'm learning, as we know is a famous quote in here now by a very special person? Yes. And if it says we learned that we had to fully concede to our innermost self that we're alcoholic, well, those concessions probably go a little deeper when we're doing the work, like fully conceding that I'm not self and I can't operate on that management system that I've been trying to use. So this is all very beautiful way and approach, and it takes out the middleman, which is me, who's doing the negotiating between my higher power and self, to ultimately try and find some sort of hack or easier, softer way. And it always goes back to the same misery and pain when I'm desiring to try and rest, which is short for wrestle, right? Rest satisfaction out of the world and the people in it. And to be able to fall back into that, coming to believe that a power greater than myself can restore me to sanity, like having that experience in these steps, because like you said, the steps do me. Like there's not a specific number of a step that I'm working in the day that I'm in. Okay, oh, I gotta get back to step. I gotta do that. It's like, yeah, of course I'm watching for selfishness, dishonesty, resentment, and fear. But I was so rigid with this thing, Paul. You know, I did it out of a specific book where you ask yourself these questions, statements into questions. And what that reaffirmed was I was the doer, man. It reaffirmed that these troubles were of my own making. It reaffirmed, like, how do I differentiate the truth from the false? What a horrific question for an alcoholic to keep asking themselves when the same mechanism is trying to sort that out. Or my will, God's will. Oh, I don't know. You know, let me just roll the dice and see what works for right now. But I think, and I'll finish with this, I think there's a physiological experience that comes with self-will, and it's in my body. And when that tenses up and I'm going to make some rash decision based on that, I've been given this ability to pause or to go be of service or to go to a meeting or take the dog for a walk and not immediately reply to something that I think I need to reply to. And sometimes it doesn't get replied to at all. And then maybe a day or two later, the whole story changes and there's a different text that goes out. So the beauty of this for me is a reaffirmation that I'm not that. And that's what I get when I come here Tuesdays and Thursdays, or I listen to you on YouTube, man. It's a very clear message. I'm not that. And that self-inquiry and that little Ramana Maharshi pamphlet, I've read it over and over, and still more keeps trickling in. So I appreciate you, and I appreciate your teachers that work through you, obviously. And you mean a lot to me, man. So season's greetings to you and to everybody else. Is anybody there?
Thanks, Mike.
Paul needs to be asked to unmute again.
Yes. But it doesn't do anything. I
I
press
did
here.
it. I got it. Yeah, it's
Okay.
all right. It's okay. This happens all the time. Different things. The Wi-Fi just collapsed at the house, so it's no big deal. And you're doing a great job, and yeah, all's well.
There's one more hand up. Aline, do you want to take her out?
Yeah, sure. I don't want to touch anything on the phone though, so I'm just right now I'm looking at an old man with a flannel shirt that's called me. Wow. All right. I'd like to see if I can expand on that. Yes, bring anyone in.
Okay. Hi, this is Eileen, grateful alcoholic. I am not really great at pausing when agitated. I want to pause when I'm agitated. Sometimes I do it. I feel it's becoming more of a habit, but there are times when I'm in a situation and I'm so angry at whatever triggered me, I don't want to pause. I lose the desire to pause. I just want to go crazy. What is that?
It's the dying embers of a failed system.
Okay.
Just don't keep, you'll learn that it's not wise to blow on those embers because they'll turn into a fire. And so you'll learn that way.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's what happens, Sometimes there's defiance and stubbornness, but you realize sooner or later you can't argue with reality. You're going to lose. So, yeah. So it's the easier, softer way or the tougher, harder way, but there's a way. Yeah, that in our design for living encapsulates both. You can go the easy way, you can go the hard way. A lot of times the hard way will lead to a great appreciation of the easier way. So the hard way has great value in itself. By being so hard, we're so grateful when it's been relieved. Yeah. So, but the way we're going has both of those aspects happening. They're both going to be, they're in a state of being changed. So they all have value. As long as you don't get loaded, there's value there. And even if you get loaded, there's going to be a value, but it's a harder way to go. It's best just to make that absolute in your life is not to pick up for this hour or this day. And then all the other stuff can come and go. For most of us, that's the deciding factor. The deciding factor on the winning side would be not to pick up. And if you do pick up, then you know what to do, because other people will know what you should or you could do that would be helpful. So yeah, just the way it goes. That voice is strong at times, and it will win out, and you'll judge the tree by its fruits, and you'll probably get sick and tired of eating the fruits. Yeah. I mean, you would end up in a basic condition of being alone and right. Wow, that's a great win. So, yeah, I don't. Yeah, I lose interest in winning that race. I've lost interest in that for sure. Yeah. Thank you, Eileen. Am I still heard, or did I get muted again?
No, it's all fine.
Oh, good. Well, anyone else? No? Well, I can't see if I don't want to move anything on the phone, so I can't see anyone. So
no, so far no hand is up. No.
It seems weird to say goodbye to myself, but I will. So everyone, Miss Volkman, everyone, Kerry, Mickey, everyone that I remember being here, welcome. Thank you for the meeting. Sorry for the interruption. Obviously, it had nothing to do with me. So I'm not gonna feel guilty. Oh, I feel so bad. I did that in 2024. No, it'll be forgotten in a minute.
Hey, Paul.
Yep.
Isn't the whole point of this to say goodbye to self?
Yes. Well, I'm blanketing goodbye. Yeah. I would, in this case, I would wish the thing I'm saying goodbye to would be gone. But I don't think that wish is going to be fulfilled today. All right. Thank you, everyone. I can't see any of you. Oh, no, I can't. I don't want to fool around with this. Thank you so much. We'll see you soon. Again, all the access to these things are initially in the Zen BitSlap page, the event page. And if not, I think they're on YouTube and stuff. So, hey, thank you so much. Thank you, Miss Volkman, and everyone else. All right.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you for your other service, Leanne.
Thanks, Paul.